your stock soars into the stratosphere, you need to keep delivering truly spectacular numbers or your share price can take a big hit. That's the omnipresent danger you need to be aware of when you're dealing with highly valued equities. Look at Workday. That's the cloud-based provider of software that helps businesses with everything from human capital management to payroll to employee expense management and procurement. Here's a stock that has been on fire and is up 62% year-to-date going into today's close, and you know we've been behind it for years. That's because Workday keeps generating tremendous results. And we got another strong quarter when the company reported after the close today. They posted a 9-cent earnings beat off a 15-cent basis, higher than expected revenues, up more than 40% year-to-date. This is not a small company. Management even gave better than expected subscription revenue guidance for both the next quarter and the full year. In fact, going through the major line items, the only blemish here is a very slight billings miss. I'm sure someone's going to pick up on that. I'm telling you they'll be wrong to operate on it. Let's take a closer look. Let's go to Neil Bushry. He's the co-founder and CEO of Workday. Learn more about the quarter and where his company's headed. Mr. Bushry, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thank you, Jim. It's great to be back.
And, Neil, this seems like the quarter that we got what you talk about, the rocket ship. You got the first boosters, the human capital management. It looks like the open platform has now brought a whole new cast of characters and very big wins. It's working, isn't it?
It's working very well. This past quarter, we passed 30% of the Fortune 500 using our HCM products, and that's really their core HR solution. And it's translating into financials, and it's moving into other regions like the international market as well. International revenue now represents 20% of our business, down from or up from pretty insignificant levels a few years back.
Well, I have to tell you, I saw you got Citigroup. We have Michael Corbat on the show, and we think that Citigroup's done a remarkable job. But it is a worldwide, far-flung institution. This has got to be one of the biggest wins in finance that I can recall. How'd you get it, and was it competitive?
Everyone is competitive. Every one of these opportunities, we're competing against some very large companies. I think they made the decision, like many customers do, based on our track record of customer success. Possibly they looked at the success of Bank of America in using Workday and going live in a rapid time and adding more to the portfolio. And the banks talk amongst each other, and I think that level of success, also Deutsche Bank, also Morgan Stanley, I think it translated into Citi choosing Workday. And I was with them just a few days ago in New York, and we're absolutely committed to their success.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, two that people don't focus on enough, two of the largest companies in the world, but they have to be in Europe, Siemens and Shell. Now, we think of Workday as an American company. Obviously, those are the two probably that are up for grabs in Europe that are the largest. How did you get those?
You know, once again, the message around innovation and taking care of customers, it's a global message, and we deliver against those messages. Siemens did their homework, Shell did their homework, and they both decided to choose Workday. I think they looked around at other Fortune 500 size companies and saw a number of companies using Workday successfully and felt it was the right path for them. And I was involved with both of those sales cycles. They're terrific teams, and we're committed to their success. I give a tip of my hat to Chano Fernandez, who now runs worldwide sales. He built a great team in Europe, and they continue to deliver great results in Europe and around the rest of the world.
Now, we know that the way things work, and we talk about this with Mark Benioff at Salesforce, there'll be 20 items that he'll beat, and there'll be one that someone picks on. So someone might say, well, wait a second, billings, 547 million. We were looking for 552 million. How do you deal with that when you know that you blew away every single other metric?
Well, you know, going into this year when we switched over to the 606 accounting standard, we were very clear with the sell-side analysts that we were no longer focused on cash collections. And billings is really derived from cash collections. 606 doesn't really worry about cash collections, and so we're not either guiding towards it or, frankly, running the business on billings. We're running it for revenue and for profitability and growth.
And the deferred revenue, once again, stand out.
Yeah, it was a good quarter. It was a good quarter across the board.
All right, now we know, I mean, you know, it's you'll be on that Oracle quarter, and they'll say, well, wait a second. I mean, we actually won a lot of business that Workday didn't. I'm looking at this Fortune 500 list. I mean, I don't know. Who did they win that is so noteworthy? Because this is Qualcomm and Nordstrom and Citi and Humana. These had to be the big jobs that were up for grabs.
Well, so our math is that 30% of the Fortune 500 has chosen Workday. 50% of the market of those Fortune 500 companies haven't made any decision yet. So from our math, we're the clear leader in the Fortune 500 segment and likely in the Fortune 50 segment as well. But there's still a lot of market opportunity in front of us.
All right, well, the last thing I want to ask is that we had Carlos Rodriguez on recently from Automatic Data. Automatic Data is a pretty good company. And I said, how much business, I was listening to the forecast, obviously, from Pershing Capital, and Bill Ackman was saying, why aren't you as good as Workday? And he said, they're our partner. Now, is that a correct description of your work with Automatic Data?
Well, I would say they're our competitor and our partner, and I'm a fan of Carlos. I think he's a very good CEO. That's a business that's been around for 50 years, and when he took over as CEO, he inherited a company with a lot of legacy software, right, and he's trying to transition them into the cloud. We have the great luxury of starting with a clean sheet of paper, but we have many joint accounts where they're the payroll provider and we're the HR provider. We do payroll as well, so in places we compete and places we partner. But I think he's a very good CEO, and I'm a fan of Carlos.
But the fact is that because he's still on premises for most of his business, it just means that a cloud solution is much more liked by the customers.
I think that's the case, and I think the market numbers bear that out. But I think a fair comparison for ADP is candidly SAP and Oracle. You have to look at other companies that have to deal with legacy software and generations of old technology. And it's a challenge to overcome that, and I think Carlos again is doing a good job in the time he's had at ADP.
Well, don't want to leave on them. Want to leave on you. This was a terrific quarter. Congratulations to Aneel Bhusri, co-founder and CEO of Workday, with some remarkable wins, probably the biggest ones that were up for grabs. Great to see you, sir. Workday, if it comes in, it would be a blessing. Okay, same thing as like Salesforce. Sometimes these people pick on some line item. I like to think bigger. Mad Money's back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.